Hey, this is the CalebCast for Tuesday, October 27th, 2009. I just wanted to tell you a quick story for today's vodcast, or vlog, or vlurb, or video podcast. A couple months ago, I was at home checking some people that I follow on Twitter, just checking Twitter, and I noticed one of the guys that I follow, his name is Cameron Strang, and you can follow him on Twitter at Cameron Strang. He is the editor and I think the owner of the Relevant magazine, the Relevant Media Group, and so I've been following him for a while, and actually was a huge fan of still am a huge fan of their podcast. Just some really funny stuff. And current music and movie reviews, really good stuff. So I've been listening to that podcast for a long time. I knew that him and his wife, Maya Strang, at Maya Strang on Twitter, were pregnant and expecting a baby. So when he posted on Twitter this message that, hey, they were trying to decide on a good name, and they had not come up with anything. So he had a few requests for name submissions that they would be sort of unique type original names, and preferably 2-syllable, and end with a consonant, so it would flow well into Strang, I guess. I think that was what it was, something like that. Anyways, I just replied back and said, my wife and I just had a son, and we named him Cohen. It's a Hebrew word for priest. And about 45 minutes later, he replied back and to me specifically and said, "We really like that name. Thanks," or something along those lines. And so I didn't think anything of it. Well, I did think a lot of it because he had replied back to me. And so, like I said, I was a huge fan. Am a huge fan of the podcast, the magazine, and actually, I think he was also the editor of a magazine that I was really interested in high school, which was called 7 Ball magazine. I'm not sure about that, but I think that's correct. 7 Ball magazine. But he replied back that night, and I was like, whoa, I couldn't believe that he replied back and said, oh, thanks, we really like that name. So a couple of weeks ago, I was listening to the Relevant Magazine podcast, and in the podcast, he said, Maya and I have decided on a name for our son. We're going to name him Cohen. And that actually has a cool story behind where we got the name. And then he told the story about how he had asked for name suggestions over Twitter. So I thought, whoa, that's really cool. So then I posted about the podcast and said, check it out. And then when I posted on it from my Twitter account, he replied back to that and said, yeah, that's cool. That's correct. Thanks for the suggestion. And Maya Strang as well replied back and said, hey, thanks for the suggestion. So just kind of interesting, my interaction with a few major celebrities on Twitter, and just it really reinforces to me how awesome it is of a communications device, that it's so personal that you can ask questions like that about what's some name suggestions. So it's a very personal communication device, but yet you can have contact with such a large group of people. So that's one of the things that I like about Twitter, and one of the reasons that I think that if you are watching this vlog and if you're not on Twitter, then I am slightly disappointed in our friendship, because I would like to know more about you. If you are on Twitter and I don't follow you, then I am sorely ashamed at my lack of attention on your behalf, and I would love to follow you on Twitter if you would just let me know your screen name, as we refer to them. Follow me on Twitter, twitter.com/CalebCanal, and follow Cameron and Maya Strang on Twitter, my friends, twitter.com/Cameron Strang and twitter.com/Maya Strang. And actually, if you click on my favorites on Twitter, you can favorite an update. I favorited there too, or I guess I starred them or marked them. There to post and reply to me. So if you check on my favorites tab, you can see way they replied to me. So you know that I'm not making this whole story up. If I was, I would have said like some major celebrity. I named the child of a maid, like Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie, asked for name suggestions, and they took mine. But that's not true. But the strings did, and that's pretty cool. So thanks for watching. One last note. It would help me to know if this is at all interesting to you, if you would rate these podcasts. So if you look down on the lower portion of the screen, maybe somewhere in here, there's 5 stars, and you can rate it from 1 to 5. Just rate that as you feel. I'm not asking you for 5 stars. I'd really like to know if this is interesting content for you. If it's not, give it a 1 star. And that way I'll know that this is... I really need to pick up the speed here in this podcast. If you like it, then rate it 5 stars and subscribe to the podcast because, as a wise man once said, YouTube channel subscribers are like crack to a video posting guy. So that's CalebCast number 3. Thanks for watching.